taking a shower in the morning, and all of a sudden, somebody barges into your home and into your bathroom and pulls you out of the shower, points a gun to your head right between your eyes. And then you find out it's the United States government. And the reason why they have a gun between your eyes is you're developing a computer tracking system that could streamline information in a cheaper, more secure, and effective way than the system that's currently in place, you know, the one that's unconstitutionally spying on U.S. citizens and collecting and storing all information. That's all being put online. Your system could also have prevented 9/11. This is not a movie plot. It's what happened to 4 individuals desperately trying to bring a program to Congress's attention. And as a result, the government tried to destroy their lives. Their homes were raided at gunpoint. They were under constant surveillance. They were either fired from their jobs or blackballed from future employment. If you don't think the government can get out of control, you have to listen to these people's story. Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi, Clint.
I'm going to introduce you first, Diane Rourke. She is the former professional staff member on the House Intelligence Committee. Bill Binney is the former National Security Administration's Senior Technical Director. Kirk Wiebe is former NSA Senior Intelligence Analyst. And Tom Drake is the former NSA Senior Executive. 2010, he was charged with violating the Espionage Act. He could have faced up to 35 years?
35 years.
You were the one in the shower.
I was not in the shower. I was raided by the FBI, though.
What does it feel like to have somebody say 35 years?
Well, it's pretty difficult. You know, I was simply upholding the oath to support and defend the Constitution.
Okay. So take me back to the beginning briefly. What happened? How did this spiral out of control?
Well, I told the truth to 2 9/11 congressional investigations and a Department of Defense Inspector General audit.
And you had
as a whistleblower.
Right, as a whistleblower. Don't we have a whistleblower act to protect whistleblowers?
We do.
What happened?
Doesn't have a whole lot of teeth in it in terms of the government deciding to reprise or retaliate against you.
So you guys came up with a simpler program that wouldn't have violated the Constitution, wouldn't have stored information that's illegally being collected on all of us, right?
Would have absolutely adhered to the Fourth Amendment.
But it also, you went back and you ran this program to see if you would have found any clues on 9/11, is that right?
When several of the colleagues retired in October 2001, I became the executive program manager on Thin Thread. And we actually did an evaluation of what NSA had in its main databases. We found critical information, actionable intelligence, prior to 9/11 that had never been discovered before, as well as actual intelligence after 9/11.
Okay. So tell me what happened next.
They shut the program down, is the short story.
Okay. But is that where you two met? How did you, how the 4 of you come together?
Well, I was the congressional, what they call monitor for National Security Agency on the House Intelligence Committee. And I met these gentlemen in the course of my investigations. And of course, we have oversight over their whether they're doing things legally as well as over their budget. And Tom came to me at one point after I made a speech, and I had been in briefings with him prior to that, and he came and talked to me about some things that needed to be done at NSA, and I had also talked to Kirk and Bill.
So when this came out, you went to Congress, you told them, and then the government turned on you. What's your story? What happened to you two?
Well, I guess as the technical director there, I was kind of in charge of figuring out ways of doing things that would solve the problems around the world. So the biggest problem I saw was the volume and massive communications that were coming in the web and around the world. So that was my focus. How can you deal with that kind of data in such a way to be able to look into it without actually having to look at it?
You have a gun pointed to your head?
Yes, I did, yeah.
You were in the shower?
I was in the shower, yes.
What was that like when the United States government?
Well, he didn't have his finger in the trigger, so I wasn't too worried. So,
okay, great.
But you know, you don't expect that to happen. Okay.
Okay.
It's not. This is not East Germany.
Right. Now you guys are concerned because it's gotten. I mean, that to me sounds out of control.
Yeah.
But now you're saying this is much worse.
It is absolutely much worse.
What's happening now?
Well, if you look at Utah, you have to ask the question, what is that huge facility for? The one that would fit 5 U.S. capitals in. And when we look at it from our backgrounds and expertise, it's to collect an awful lot of information about people.
What are they collecting? Do you have any idea? What are they collecting here?
I'm pretty sure they're collecting what's going across the internet and what's going across the public switch telephone network, your telephone calls, emails. Probably a lot more, though. Probably even your financial records and building relationships and making social communities for everybody.
Some people will say, well, I don't write anything in my emails that I'm ashamed of. Help me out on that.
Well, it's not just that. It's looking at the communities you're working with. And as long as you don't say anything that's upsetting them, I think you're fine. But if you cross the line and say something that they don't particularly care to have said about them, then you can become a target, and they could start really spying on you, going into all the data that they've stored about you that they're collecting over time.
I have seen, I've seen several people that have had their lives destroyed. Now, you guys are 4 more.
Yeah.
And had their lives absolutely destroyed. And the connections will, all of a sudden, if they get smeared, like what he's doing now to Mitt Romney, they get smeared. Now, all of a sudden, the bank's not going to do business with you because the bank is getting pressure to stop doing business. Right. Is this the kind of connections that you're talking about?
Yes, that would be mapped out in your social network. Right, and they could then target them to put pressure on you, yeah.
Where all this is being done in secret. Right. You have no choice as to what they're collecting or what they're collecting about you. So imagine your entire life being peeled aside on a daily basis. And that information, all those digital transactions, electronic transactions being stored about you. What kind of profile could you create?
For me, I understand this.
Yeah.
But most people, again, I really think will say, there you go, conspiracy corner again. It's the United States. Most people, believe it or not, still trust the United States of America. They still trust that it's not going to go nefarious. They're not going to do it. When we come back, I'd like you guys to make the most compelling case, each of you, to the American people of why they should care about this, why they should care that you guys have been blackballed or held at gunpoint or faced prison time for telling the truth, why people should care about that data collection center in Utah, and then why they should care about any kind of data being collected on them. And then one last thing, and maybe you can help us on this. What do they do? What do they do? You almost, all of you. What does the average person do? We'll do that when we come back.